loosen up the headphones. But
Yeah.
I was watching before this. I asked an AI like to give me some resources, some stuff to read, and videos having to do with this Prince and label thing. And so I was watching some of the interviews before this, and bro, he talks like how, and I'm not saying Russ is Prince because they're not, but the way they talk about the mechanics of like them trying to put their music out and owning their creative and like being independent, like a lot of the stuff that Russ was talking about, Prince was saying the same thing, bro. Prince was like just a little too early. Like one of the interviews I watched was in 2009, and he had released a project independently. I can tell you the name in a second, but basically he was talking about how he had a direct partnership with Target because they were his distributor, and 30 million people came to their doors every day. This was 2009. He was just talking about how he just gets he's getting treated as a label at Target in terms of the splits he's getting, the amount of people that are seeing his stuff, where his stuff is on the show. And he was like, in the future, it's all going to be like this. And obviously, this is pre-streaming, but I feel like he's having the him and Target talk would be the equivalent of like somebody in Spotify today. And it was just so interesting to see him like talk about how that's all he ever wanted, and why what I'm going to get into with his record contract and the disputes and stuff like that, he just wanted control over his own IP and owning it. um, but yeah, I'm interested to potentially share some information with people today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Russ has a lot of similarities in that way, like at least with the trying to be independent and stuff like that. And there was just more access for a person like Russ to be able to do it the way Prince was speaking of. So,
Yeah, because the internet is. I was having an interesting conversation with Colton yesterday about like, because we work remotely, when you work remotely, a lot of the factors that play into like you picking where you live are almost taken out of it, right? Like I feel like at this age, the biggest one outside of like friends and family and social dynamics is like where you work. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? If you work online, a lot of that is sort of mitigated and taken away. And so anybody can make money from anywhere if you're being smart about it. But it didn't used to be that way. It didn't used to be that way. You have to be where everybody was physically, whether that be in the store or in the city that they're in. It's not like that anymore, which is dope if you realize it and you're able to capitalize off it. But if not, it really doesn't play much of a factor in people's life or day to day.
Right. Yeah, like the internet's getting crazy. Like you was talking about the AI you asked, but did you see like the new Chat GPT, how you could like it could like translate real time what a person is saying to you? Like stuff like that. It just gives so much more access to people where it's crazy for like, and you could get that for like what, $20? Like it's
Yeah,
insane.
it's not even expensive.
Right.
So I wanted to start off basically talking about Prince and his label disputes coming off of the Drake battle with Kendrick. I'm not really talking about that anymore, but I just felt like the dynamics of the actual releasing of the music were interesting to me. So I went back, and Prince had a dispute with Warner Bros. In the 90s, right? And basically, it wasn't, and this summary was that I'm reading off of or sort of put together. I put it in Gemini, so it put some details in there that aren't completely true. Like I went back and watched some of the interviews, and it wasn't really over creative control. Prince said in an interview, and I put it in the post. He said that they never really had a problem with things that he said in the music. Like whatever he said, he could say. There was never really that. It was honestly just ownership of the project, right? He said he wanted to be able to own it and sell it to the end of time, and they could lease it or rent it, right? So they could earn on it together in the moment that it's releasing. But after like a certain time period, which is how most contracts work now, he wanted to be able to just own it and go distribute it however he wanted after that, right? So the thing that most people in the public saw from this dispute was when he changed his name in 1993. He changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol seen as a symbolic rejection to Warner Bros. Right? This was because they owned the ownership of his name and identity, so he couldn't release music under his own name or likeness at the time. And so he figured out a workaround on how he could potentially still put out music under a different name, alias, identifier, and stuff like that. And he was writing slave on his face, which is, I feel like, a pretty popular image. A lot of people have seen
Hmm.
images of Prince performing with that on his face. Um, and this point I thought was very interesting in relation to Drake, if you want to go back to it in a minute. But It says Prince intentionally flooded the market with lower quality albums, hoping to pressure Warner Bros. To renegotiate his contract. Right. So between like I think it was 91 and 96, he put out like a ton of albums. And at the time, the volume in which he was putting them out wasn't really like what the industry was doing. And it was a bunch of different types of music. And while he never said, I feel like lower quality is subjective in my opinion. Like, because if he does like jazz or something like that, the people who know him for pop or rock may not agree with that and may deem it as lower quality, but I don't see it that way. So I saw it as an interesting way of like, if he's putting out music that the label doesn't want from him or music that doesn't identify with his core audience that people may not buy, then the Warner Bros. May be forced to drop him. That was the idea. If I'm putting out a ton of music that they don't want, they'll renegotiate the contract in my favor. So that's how I looked at it. And the way I relate that to Drake is like Drake put out maybe not a he didn't like abandon the sound he's known for the last 2 or 3 years, but he put out a ton of music. You know what I'm saying? And I found that as an interesting like overlap between this label dispute and the one that is a speculative label dispute, right? Like we don't know if it is or isn't, but I just found that as an interesting thing that could have been similar. But outside of that, I didn't really see much other overlap, right? So eventually in 94, they did renegotiate the contract, and Prince gained more creative control over his rights of his earlier recordings, which is what he had wanted. And eventually in 2014, he ended up re signing with them in another deal. So he must have negotiated better terms along that time. But I don't know. It was just interesting to see that, like, if you watch Prince interviews, the way he talks about his IP and creative control, like he was talking about 360 deals in 2009, and it's just um, recognizing that I made this thing and I should own it, and you helped me make the thing, so you should profit off it a bit. But once you recoup X, Y, Z or so much, or you make so much money, I still made this at the end of the day, so I should be able to take this with me somewhere else. Um, but yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Well, I definitely do think that's interesting. I could see that similarity between him and Drake because I mean, people have been talking and saying, at least from CLB probably until now, some of the Drake albums have been quote unquote lower quality, but like you said, it's subjective because there's a lot of songs in those albums that I liked. But I could definitely see him maybe dumbing it down or diluting his music just so he could get more creative control and get more of I guess a bigger piece of the pie because that was one of the things with Drake is that he said you were signed to that nigga that was signed to that nigga that was signed to that nigga. Like he's signed. He was signed to everybody. He had bad deals, just like most people in the music industry. And I'm sure like when you're an artist that's as big as him, you're gonna try to find those workarounds and you're gonna try to find those like just I don't know. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'd say.
Yeah. I think for me, more than anything, the reason these things are interesting because as consumers, we just want the music for the music, right? And I feel like the dynamic between the label and the artist plays a factor into the music that we get, right? Whether we know
Mm-hmm.
it or not, whether or not you recognize it when you get the output, it matters. And so it's gonna make me like it's made me dive into other people's catalogs and where they were at. Like next week, I want to get into 50 Cent and Jimmy Iovine and Interscope, because that second album that 50 Cent put out after Get Rich or Die Trying, I'm pretty sure it was called The Massacre. Let me pull it up real quick. Um, but that album is a good album. I was talking about that with Colton the other day, but it didn't get as much. Yeah, The Massacre came out 2005. It was 2 years after Get Rich or Die Trying, but it didn't get as much label support. And I've heard people on other podcasts and read in other articles how 50
Mm-hmm.
Cent was going through it with his label around that time after Get Rich or Die Trying. So it's interesting to see like, yo, this project, it's not Get Rich or Die Trying. Like that's like one of the most classic hip hop albums of all time. But it was still a good album and it still had platinum records on there. So next week I'm gonna do 50 Cent and Interscope.
Yeah, I definitely could see how the label part plays into it because I even feel like Kendrick's last album wasn't that pushed by TDE and he was going through with his label. Like I feel like, of course, they gave him the little oh yeah Kendrick drop, but I don't feel like they put all this like how much they put behind like Damn and how much they put behind To Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City, like all that. I feel like it was mostly Kendrick at that point. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Then the here nigga damn effect needs to be studied out in life. Like, and that's just like in the workforce in music and art. It's like you can tell when a nigga here nigga. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? You
yeah,
can
bro.
tell.
Yeah, bro.
This is the Rhythm and Rhymes podcast, episode 57. I'm your host, AJ Hughes. I'm here with my co-host Antonio Hughes, and I don't think there wasn't a ton of music that came out this week. But how you doing? How was your weekend?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. It's starting to get warm out here, so that's good. But I'm leaving after this week. I gotta go to my internship. I got my email from the person at the housing office saying that I can move in the 25th, but I asked him if I can move in the 26th. Just wanted to do that. Guess I'm
What day is
excited to
it?
go to
The
Indy.
26th is Sunday, right?
Yeah, it's next Sunday. So I gotta. That's why I didn't unpack none of my stuff because I would felt like I just got here, honestly, and I already
Yeah,
have to leave. So yeah, bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'll notice. Especially over the next year and a half, especially depending on where you end up going after you graduate, the amount of packing and unpacking, for me at least, it made me get rid of a ton of stuff. It just
Yeah.
made me get rid of a ton of stuff because, like, as I'm packing it again, I'm looking at it like, when was the last time I wore this shirt for real? Or when was the last time I wore these shoes for real? And it's like I'm packing and unpacking it and bringing it, and I ain't wore it in a year and a half. So I just got rid of like that. That's how I was able to move from Illinois to Florida with just packing a car, and that was all my stuff because it was just like I had a ton of stuff that I just didn't need. And so as you start unpacking and packing, you just realize like, bro, I don't even like this shirt. What is this shirt doing here? You know what I'm saying? Which is, I feel like it's good to get rid of like possessions and not to get like deep in it, but it's just like, why do you need a ton of stuff, bro? Like people just get like hoard stuff, and it's like you don't even need this stuff.
Yeah, I feel like my thing I'm probably going to downsize with first is shoes because I got a bunch of like older shoes that like I've kind of almost beat into the ground, but like shoes that I've kept around, like I could possibly wear this, and I'm wearing the same 2-3 pair of shoes for real, knowing that when I start school again, I'm probably gonna buy replacements of the same 2 or 3 pair of shoes that I'm wearing already,
Facts.
like type thing. Like there's a bunch of stuff I definitely want to get rid of. Shirts is not one of those things though, because I work out so much that I'd be like, nah, I'm not getting rid of shirts. Like,
Yeah, no, I do need some more workout gear. Like I got rid of a ton of that. I feel like you got a lot of my workout stuff. I ain't gonna lie.
no,
Most
I
of it.
don't. I
Yes, you
have
did,
so
bro.
much workout stuff for myself. The only
I
thing I
have
still
like
have that's yours,
none.
the only thing I still have that's yours, I still wear the Derrick Roses, but that's different because you left them
Cause
here.
them were hard though. Them what the yellow ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, them are hard. Them are hard. I miss those sometimes. Like I wake up in the middle of the night and be like, damn, what the fuck are my shoes? No, I'm fine. This week, there wasn't a ton of new music. I put some stuff on here. There was the A Boogie project. I kind of want to hold off on that if you haven't heard the whole thing because I haven't.
I
But
didn't hear
you
that.
didn't? Okay. I want to get into Please Don't Cry by Rapsody. Did you hear it?
Yeah, yeah, I love this album.
Tell me some more.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Um, I felt like rap wise, Rhapsody is just one of those lyrically, and I feel like she's also a kind of a J. Cole type in a way. Like she's gonna sit there and give you like introspection and stuff you got to really go back and think about. And I feel like that's what I needed this weekend personally. Like I was thinking a lot this weekend, so I feel like maybe that was part of it, like my environment and how I was feeling during the weekend. When I pressed play on that, it just kind of locked me into what I was doing. But I liked the album. I thought she had good bars on it. It wasn't like a crazy like, oh my god, this is groundbreaking, but I definitely think it's a quality rap album. And I liked a decent amount of songs on there.
I would agree with you. I want you to find your favorite. Do you have your favorites in front of you or not?
Let me pull up the album again.
Okay, I'm gonna get into it and then we'll get into our favorites. But I would agree with you. I feel like this sounded sonically like a project, and it's crazy that you have
Yeah.
to kind of say that now because sometimes it's just like a collection of songs. But this was definitely quality. There was two pockets of like there was two runs within the album that I felt like, oh yeah, this was she was in her bag, right? So like starting with Asteroids with Hit Boy, which is the third
Hmm.
song, and going to Stand Tall. I like that bag. It's a little bit slower tempo and more almost it's almost spoken word, like that almost spoken word type rap. Like, okay. But then my favorite like run she went on within the songs was Back in My Bag, which is the 15th song. And then
Hmm.
she had a Nico's Interlude, which was like a good transition into Raw with Lil Wayne and Nico Brim. Raw, featuring Lil Wayne and Nico Brim, reminds me of was it Hot Wind Blows on Tyler the Creator.
Hot Wind Blows.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know, it was the same type of bag. I'm gonna try and transition those into like one or the other, but Lil Wayne got in his bag, and those three like The raps on there are so crazy. That's when Rapsody was like no pun intended in her bag for
Yeah, I feel like in my head, bro, I said, and I took it back immediately, but I was like, bro, she's like almost female Kendrick, bro, with this introspection, bro. But it's like, yeah, like it was a good album, bro. I feel like she had good features on here. Like Alex Isley was on here. That was one of my favorite songs. The
real.
song with Erica Badu, 3 a.m. was really good. Stand Tall, I probably listened to that 3 or 4 times that same day. Like I love that song since it came out. And then yeah, I like Back in My Bag a lot too. And the funny thing is, the first time I heard the Wayne song, I skipped it, and I don't know why. Wayne's voice didn't hit my ear right, and I was like, and then I realized who it was, and I had to go back. I was like,
Right. You gotta give Wayne more than 5 seconds. You gotta give him like 10. He gotta like you know what I'm saying. He gotta flick the lighter and then
yeah, bro.
settle down. But yeah, I would agree with you. Stand Tall was one of my favorites. Back in My Bag and then Raw. Um, I only gave it one listen all the way through, and then I gave my favorite songs like a couple of repeats. D&D I liked. It's not personal. But yeah, it's a good project. But for it to be isolated as like one of the only projects that came out this weekend, I think it's good. And I hope a lot of people listen to it. You know what I mean? If you like rap, you should definitely go listen to it. And I'm still gonna I'm gonna keep coming on here and saying the collabs I want. I want Little Sims and Rhapsody. I
Yeah,
want that collab. So I don't know how we're gonna get it done, but I'm gonna keep saying it.
that would be a great collab, bro. I would love to hear that. I feel like Lil Sim's production with some Rhapsody bars on there would be crazy, bro.
There are two singles I want to get into. Did you have any new music you wanted to get into? Because I'm kind of gonna like go on a little tangent on the second single.
No, no, there's really not a lot of new music I heard besides like my I guess you call them sleepers, songs of the week.
Okay. Okay, so two singles I have on here that I wanted to talk about. The first was Marathon Continues by Scraps and Kano. Kano is one of my favorite UK rappers. And he got off like this is one of the best verses I heard this year, and that's no exaggeration. And Scraps, I don't know too much about him, but he did his thing on here too. Great rap song if you're looking for some different rap. This Tshwala Bomb song, everybody's heard. You know this song, Tonio?
I have not heard this song, no.
You've heard it. It's the one on TikTok where they're going,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So Burna, yeah. So this song has been going crazy for a while now, and every artist had did a version over it. Like Victini, he's an Afrobeats artist. He did one. Davido did one, and Davido's version was supposed to come out, but it was delayed for some reason. And then over the last 2 weeks, it was released that Burna Boy was on it, and Burna Boy did his version of it. And I'm here to say, like, bro, I'm not calling Burna Boy Drake. I'm not calling Burna Boy Drake. But you know how Drake will just like a song will be fire. And before, and it's early to call this, right? It's super early. But before Drake will hot like Versace, that mug hot in the streets. You know what I'm saying? My way, with Fetty Wap. Drake hop on it, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like you get super hype. But this one, I heard it and I was like, I could have did with like I like Davido's version better. I like his version better. So I understand why the artist put Burna Boy on it because he's the bigger artist at the moment, and you're just gonna get more attention around it if he's on it. But it don't set like he didn't add to it for me. I didn't need this. I didn't need this.
You ain't even mentioned Tuesday McConan. Like Drake always did that, but I could definitely see Berta stealing that flow. I could see him seeing that blueprint working for Drake and being like, let me put that in my
You
pocket.
if no, if you really want to get into it, like Burna Boy Burna Boy is to the rest of black music as Drake is to rap here.
You think so?
Bro, if you go back and look at the way he does the features, you got Sumba with Ashake. You got second sermon with Black Sheriff. You got Taliban's with Byron Messiah. You got
Mm.
what else you got? You can just go back and look. Burna Boy is notorious for like let me get on this motherfucker. That's like, he's notorious for that. I could go back. Let me keep going back and looking, bro. Yeah, and I'm not hating because all those songs I just named I fucked with, but it's like this was the first one I'm like, all right, bro, like but regardless, I didn't. It's cool, and the thing is with on my piano tracks are like 4 or 5, 6 minutes a lot of times, and so this one they shortened it to 3, and they because for me the best part about not even the best part, but a part of it that I like an element is that there's a build up for the song. Like it starts off real low and they add instrumentation and they slowly speed up a little bit. And then they go slow to fast, slow to fast. Like there's various tempos throughout the song. Burna Boy comes on within like 20 to 30 seconds of the record. And like lyrically, if you reading what he's saying, it's like, okay, this is a vibe. But it don't feel like, it's not like Taliban's. It's not like a dancehall Afro beats-esque record where it's like you can just jump on, throw a verse in there and it works. You know what I'm saying? Like there are certain pockets to where it's like, if you're not hitting those pockets on this BPM, like it's like 110 to 113, like it
Yeah.
just doesn't sound as appealing to the ear for real. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I like Davido's, because Davido's like his cadence is, he's like, he goes fast to slow, fast to slow, fast to slow. Where Burna Boy is almost rapping at you on this, where it's just like it just didn't sonically work for me. You know what I'm saying? Like to get, not to get too intricate, but I was just like, he just saw that this mug was going crazy and he was like, let me get on this. And I was just like, I didn't need it.
No, I get what you're saying. There's a lot of songs where you be sitting there like this verse would sound better on a way different beat or like somewhere else, but like here it does not fit. It just doesn't work.
Oh, what I want to do, I want to ask you what you think Song of the Summer is, or going to be, or who has the potential to make a Song of the Summer. And then um I don't know. I did a mix yesterday, and there's a part of the mix I want to play. I don't know if I do that on here or off here. We'll see. But I want to know what you think Song of the Summer is going to be, or if somebody has a Song of the Summer, Song of the Summer in the tuck.
I think Not Like Us and Like That are going to be bumping through the whole summer. I think Get It Sexy by Sexy Red is going to be bumping through the whole summer. And I know you're shaking your head, but the girls love Sexy Red, bro.
They
It's just,
do.
it is what it
They
is. It is what
do.
it is. And I'm thinking we're gonna hear that everywhere. I feel like Drake definitely probably has one in the tuck waiting. Um, I feel
You think
like,
so?
yeah, yes. I think after that battle, he's coming back with a summer vibe hit. I think he has one of those sitting. Like I think he's trying to go make a controller right now, bro. One dance
With
right
who?
now. Like
Who's the feature? Who's the feature though?
I don't know. At this point, I mean, maybe he could get like a. I could see him doing like kind of like a party type of, or like maybe he hops in with Burna Boy, like something like that. You know, go back to culture vulturing, like Thames
I think Thames has one on her album. That's what I'm gonna say. I think Thames
for
has
real.
one on her album coming. Yeah, there's the track list hasn't been released yet, but like she's Frank's hot sauce. She's Frank's hot
Yeah,
sauce. It's like
yeah, you know,
it's
you're
it's
right.
just fire. Oh, but fun fact, I don't think we'll ever get a Burna Boy Drake song.
Why?
So I was actually looking this up a couple weeks ago. Like, why haven't we got a Burna Boy Drake song? Because I guess there was an interview in like 2016 or 2017 where Burna Boy said that he was talking with Drake about potentially doing something, and More Life. So the album More Life by Drake, he had a ton of contributors like do songs for it, write songs, send in production and stuff like that. And Burna Boy did 5 songs for the album. And initially they said like, I think they said 3 of them made the project, but when the project came out, only one of them was used, and they like overproduced the mess out of it to where you couldn't even tell Burna Boy was on it. That song, "Get It Together" with Black Coffee and Georgia Smith, is sampling a reference track by Burna Boy. And when that came out, Burna Boy was mad because he had did 5 songs and he said they were going to get used, and then it was like he wasn't even on the project for like you couldn't even tell he was there, which I thought was like to hear that story and then also know like IDK has a song on I think it's called Is He Real, which is a project that came
Hmm.
out like 2017 or 2018 where Burna Boy vocals on the back of it, and that was a reference track as well. Like apparently there's just like a ton of reference tracks by Burna Boy just out there floating around, but that's why I think we won't get a Burna Boy Drake song because it seems like he kind of played them like, oh yeah, you'd be on the album, and then yeah.
It's crazy how many stories of that have happened with Drake, bro. Like over and over again, bro.
Yeah, it's starting to make sense. But I'm looking at the Billboard Top 100 and I'm looking at the Spotify Top 50 to see like what songs on here I think are going crazy. That $1 Million Baby record, I'm tired of hearing it.
Hmm.
It's a good song. I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing it.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that though, Get It Sexy is number 21 on Billboard. It's all Taylor Swift. It's all Taylor Swift, motherfucker. This is crazy. That's it. That Never Lose Me is still 44. That's a good record. Whatever She Want is on there.
Oh my
Also
god, that one. my
Whatever
god.
she wants to bob. The other one I see on the Spotify one, which is interesting, is Santa by Russian and Irish Star and
Mm,
Raul Alejandro. Apparently, I just saw an interview with Iris Star a couple of days ago, but she said that's one of her highest selling songs. So she ended up putting it on the album because it's doing so well right now. So I'm interested to see how much burn that one gets because I like that song. But
yeah.
I don't think we have Song of the Summer yet. I think Not Like Us is holding the spot, but I don't think we got it yet. And I went back and watched the episode last year when we talked about this. I was spot on. I was spot on.
What'd you say?
I said Taliban's and Sprinter. Um,
What did I say?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I'm gonna go back and check. But I just remember I saw the clip where you put that in there, and I was just like, Sprinter is the highest selling UK rap song I think of all time now.
Hey, they can't mention UK rap if it's not Dave or Sense, bro. Like, I don't know. Like,
Put 9 gallon of Sprinter. Yo, I'm gonna come in here and talk about Dave soon too. I hope Dave releases a project soon.
better.
So, what songs do you want to share with the people this week, bro?
Okay, so I was back in my Nicholas Craven bag, one of my favorite white boy producers. Shout out you, bro. Love to get you on the podcast. Got back in his project with Ransom, and this song is called War Dogs with him, Noir, and Nicholas Craven. Like I said, crazy. Good bars on here. Noir is one of those really underrated female rappers for sure. And then I think I'll give them Beltway by Opal OD. This was one of those I'm on Spotify. It came on after like I was listening to I was listening to Frank Ocean, which is funny, but it came on like a suggested type thing. He only has like 3,000 monthly listeners. He's not that known, but this song was really cool. It was a vibe, nice little vibe. So go check that out. Beltway by Opal OD. Never heard of you, but shout out you.
Okay, shout out to you, bro. Um, Songs I'm gonna give him this weekend. The first one, you know what I'm saying? It's a deep, deep Afro beats rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Deep
Okay.
cut, deep cut. Such a deep cut. You around? I ain't even gonna tell you. I almost got caught up because the song came on. That's how deep it is. It's one of those songs where it's like, who played you this? And then it's like, it's one of those. It's like, how do you know this?
How do you
This
know this song?
American boy? How do you know this song? It was one of those. So it's by DJ Maphorisa, who we talked about on here before. You know what I'm saying? It's called Walk Ye Phara, Phara, featuring Moonchild, Sinelli, Ko, and Zulu McHathny. You know what I'm saying? DJ Maphorisa, Walk Ye Fada. That's one. And then the other one I'll give you, um, this is just like 50 Cent is the king of the hooks, bro. He was the king of the hooks when he was doing it, bro. Baby by Me, 50 Cent, Neo. I play that song every day. I don't know why. It just came back into my rotation, and that song has been kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. All right, man. All right, man. Anything you want to leave the people with this week? You know what I'm saying? It's hot outside down here. That's all I want to say.
Get outside, get away from your screens. Everybody have a good week. Get to work in. That's all you can do. Watch out for Nvidia earnings this week. There's money to be made.
Watch it. Oh, I have to ask you about Zscaler too, because I don't know what that is, but we have to use it for work. But yeah, you know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
yeah, it's a cybersecurity company.
Okay. All right. We'll see y'all next week.